You ready to rumble?
Good to go.
Okay. All right. Welcome to Real Raw Recovery. I'm Joe Tilley.
I'm Tyler Tilley.
All right. Let's see. Open in the usual fashion. The moment of silence followed by the Serenity We prayer. God, grant us the serenity to accept the things we cannot change, courage to change the things we can, and the wisdom to know the difference.
So, you want me to read?
Yeah, sure.
Fixing me, not you. If somebody hurts us and we are sore, we are in the wrong also. 12 and 12, page 90. What a freedom I felt when this passage was pointed out to me. Suddenly I saw I could do something about my anger. I could fix me instead of trying to fix them. I believe there are no exceptions to this axiom. When I am angry, my anger is always self-centered. I must keep reminding myself that I am human, that I'm doing the best I can, even when the best is sometimes poor. So I ask God to remove my anger and truly set me free.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, people do stupid, crappy things. That's a fact of life. It just happens. But my attachment to other people's stupid stuff is more limited than I used to believe. You know, I used to think that it was my job to fix people, to correct people, to be really affected by other people's stuff, and you know, it's not right. People do shit that's unkind or hurtful, and so what do I, you know? But that does not have to affect me, and you know, it doesn't have to affect me.
I learned a long time ago that, like they say, self-centered fear is the root of our problems or the root of our issues. And
Yeah.
what I learned by that, like how I see that coming into play and tying in with anger, is that, like, if I'm very fearful about something, let's say, or angry about something. For example, I'm fearful about money, and it's got me all kerfuffled, and then go and engage with another human being. I'm either preoccupied with my fear, or I let my fear direct my engagements, because I don't have reprieve from that. So it's weird. Like, or even, let's say I'm afraid of certain, let's say I go to a gathering or some sort of event, and I'm afraid of certain people that are there. My actions are at that event. So when I engage with people, with other people, I'm not at my best. I have other things floating around in my head. And so engaging with other people, I'm letting the fear dictate my decisions and my actions and my mannerisms and my everything. And that goes for every, like, day-to-day actions, right? Like, so if I'm thinking about something and I'm walking across the street, I'm interacting with people at the store, like, that's where self-centered fear is, why it's indicated that it's the root of everything. The root of all our problems is because when I'm engaged in my fear, that's dictating my decisions, and it's muddying everything, and so that's what came up for me with anger. Like, let's say you even are justified, like somebody cut you off, but now the next engagement you have with somebody, like if that's lingering, if that anger is lingering, you don't got a clean slate with the new person you're engaged with. So it's actually, it still has some sort of hold of you, and you are now like carrying it along throughout your day. Same with fear. It's like you carry that throughout the day, and so all your interactions are now poisoned, or they're not as pure as they could be because you have other things going on. And it's interesting when you can catch it, like, oh, I'm really fearful of something, how it dictates your moves and your decisions. And so if you're dictating your decisions off of your, like a mind that's full of fear, it's very peculiar. It's interesting. Like, I won't do that because of this.
Yeah, it's like dropping a little drop of poison into your day, you know, and it just kind of infiltrates its way into everything.
Especially back in the day, like then you just like, that's why you would always like indicate, like it's always easy to say, oh, that's like, you can't take it personally when someone freaks out on you because they got their own shit going on, right?
Right.
It's pretty clear to see somebody else acting out because they're really angry or hurt or messed up or fearful, and they respond in this egregious, absurd way. It obviously affects you, but you can clearly tell, like, that wasn't because of a comment I made. Obviously, you got some major issues going on.
Yeah, sometimes it's really easy to see that.
Yeah.
That it's the other person, and it's totally the other person, and it's their stuff. And sometimes it's harder. But then sometimes it's like, what did I do? I remember, it sort of reminds me of the guy. I was walking down the street one time in downtown Oshawa, and this guy was walking by me. He looked like kind of like a street person, and all of a sudden he turns to me. He goes, and he starts swearing at me and yelling at me and telling me he's gonna kill me, and all this stuff. And I go, whoa. And it's like, where did this come from? It's like, did I look at him in a strange way, or like, and I realized that no, it's just, he's got a whole story going on in his mind, and that I just happened to be the next person that just popped up in front of him, and he had this fit of anger that was going on, and felt like he had to expel a bunch of anger, and it just happened to dump it off on me. And my first, like, part of me is going, whoa, is this going to escalate into a fight here? Am I going to have to like defend myself? And then I just kind of backed away and just said, okay, just hey, I just hey, it's okay. And he kind of muttered a few things, and off he went. But it was such a freaky thing, and it's like, in a case like that, it's pretty easy to see how somebody's got their anger, and it's got nothing to do with me. It has an effect on me, but only as much as I let it. Because even though it stuck with me because I still remember it, I don't think I was really affected by it. It's there a few different emotions. I had a few different thoughts and emotions, and it was like I part of me was like, damn, I mean, I'm not glad I'm not like that. Poor guy, what's going on with him? And I, all kinds of different things went through my head. But at the end of the day, I didn't go, I wasn't stuck with, gee, I wonder what I did to offend him or whatever. It wasn't that kind of thing. It was like, I just realized that it's somebody else's anger, and really it's got nothing to do with me. I just happen to be there. And you can probably say that about almost any anger that comes from somebody else, right? It's really got nothing to do with me. I mean, somebody might blame me and yell at me and blame me and say that I'm responsible for their anger, but and they can say that if they want, but I don't have to take that on, because ultimately it's their anger and how they handle it. It's you know, it really does have nothing to do with me. I just gotta, but it's not easy to get from there to there if somebody's blaming me for their anger, or, yeah, taking other people's stuff on is
I think
well,
the moral of that story is stay out of Oshawa. But also,
yeah,
also the Oshawa sign, you know how it has the slogan, like prepare to be amazed,
yeah.
whatever it is? It should be Oshawa, stay out. Stay
Prepare
out.
to be attacked.
Yeah, stay out. Not welcome. Or
Uh,
or one giant asylum.
yeah, but except for that's not true. That's not true. It's we
No, but
we
it's easy to
we live there
profile,
for a
like,
long time, and
it's
that's
kind
not
of
true.
fascinating. Like you're putting that much energy around like a crazy guy going ballistic. Like I would spin it into more like common terms for yourself, where like who are you when you're trying to impress somebody? Who are you when you're like trying to get something from somebody? Who are you when somebody's not valuable to you? Who are you like how do you let those certain things, like, okay, I really want to get this contract, I really want to get this girl to like me, what am I doing differently that's not myself? And like even like, you know, the most common advice you'd give to anyone is just be yourself. We always say that because we're never ourselves. We're trying to do something we wouldn't normally do, and we wouldn't how we wouldn't normally behave, usually out of fear. Again, bringing it back to like self-centered fear, like, okay, I really want this girl to like me, so I'm behaving a certain way out of that fear that she's not going to like me, or we're not going to see each other again, or something like that. And same with
Yep.
trying to get. So I just I turn it around. It's like, for me, it's easy to profile. Like I'm joking about Oshawa, but I'm not. If I'm downtown and I meet a crazy person, like I don't have to contemplate whether I did something right or wrong. Like it's just is what it is. And
Yeah. That's right. But you know, there is. I totally get that, and it makes complete sense. But when I was in that moment, and of course, like, there's nothing I did. I didn't like say anything offensive, or maybe. But the thing was maybe I looked at him in such a way that set him off. But then, you know, again, it was his anger, his stuff going on. It really had nothing to do with me. But there was a part of me, for a brief period of time, that thought, "What did I do?" And so, like, I wonder, or did I do something? And so I think that's what I was. The point of it is getting to that point where is realizing, the reading today, right? Realizing that, you know what, I'm not responsible for other people's anger. I don't have to take other people's anger on. It's got nothing to do with me, and I can just let it go. And if I look at it like, here's a crazy man spewing his anger in the middle of downtown, wherever, and I can look at anybody's anger the same way. I can look at my wife's anger. I can look at my friend's anger. I can look at a coworker's anger. I can look at them all the same way, and realize that it's got nothing to do with me. No more than that person on the street who I've never seen before, as far as I know. Right? So that's why, if I don't get consumed by other people's stuff, if I'm able to detach from it, then geez, I'm in a way better place. And I don't, like you were talking about, getting, like, having a girl wanting a girl to like you or whatever. it's like, yeah, I guess so. I have a girl this I met, and I want her to like me, and I'm interested in a relationship with this person or whatever. And if I'm really in a healthy place, I can say to myself, well, if this is meant to be, it's meant to be, and I'm just going to, you know, I'll pursue it and let it go. Pursue it with this. I'll pursue it, and if it works out, it works out. If it doesn't work out, it doesn't work out. That's okay, and not be attached to that. Like being less attached to the outcome of stuff like that, and not try to manipulate everything in my life. I don't, I'm a lot freer when I allow things to happen naturally and organically, and not try to force things to happen, but trust that if it's meant to happen, it's going to happen. There's certain things I have to do in terms of, like, for example, for business, I have to call certain people and, make contacts and maybe make a little pitch or whatever. And then I have to let the cards fall where they may, not to keep pressing and pressing and pressing. And, we talked about that before, and how pressing and pressing and pressing is probably not a real good idea. And how, no one to hold them, no one to fold them, no one to make a pitch and let it go, no one to say, follow that pitch up, but just to trust that whatever I'm doing is okay, and not be beating myself up for doing it wrong, not be wondering if I should have done it another way. Just accept it. Like you do what you can, and then you accept it, and then you let it go and not be attached to it, because I don't want to waste any time worrying about it.
So
did that sound scattered and all over the place?
No, but I think this conversation is a little bit like, I brought up a different point that I tried to jam it in there, but I was trying to get at something else. But if I just go back cleanly to the reading about looking at my part when I'm angry. So I always believe there's kind of like two sides to the coin. There's the philosophy of the program, and then there's the other side would be just humanism. Like, people get angry and people lose their shit, and that's just life. And you can have a good look at it and examine it and really see where it comes from. And I like to kind of use both elements, where it's like, okay, I'm going to get angry. I don't need it removed necessarily at all times, but I need to look at it and see it for what it is, and then utilize that situation. Because oftentimes, I've been in positions where I've been really frustrated, so I would classify that as anger, and I would create something from that emotions. So I don't want shit removed necessarily, but I just transmute it, or I utilize that, harness the energy. And I just believe, I try to give people, if I do something really fucked up and someone gets angry at me, I'm cool with that, man. If I see it where it's yeah, I made an error, this person's angry at me, and if the roles were reversed, I would want the same sort of empathy or understanding that I'm angry at you and I feel like I should be angry at you. I don't think it needs to just all be removed. I think that that's the other side of the coin. There's real life, and then there's a philosophy and a pathway. So somewhere down the middle would work for me, where I would indicate with somebody, sometimes I feel justified that I'm fucking you. I feel fucked over. And if the roles were reversed, I would hope you would grant me that same sort of understanding that that's not cool. This is not a cool situation, everything. So I like that mentality, because you know why? I'm going to get angry again, and I'm going to get angry again at some point. And I'd like to keep it under observation. I think if I'm getting angry a lot and frequently, well, then I might be off balance. But when things I feel I feel angry about this is something I want to pursue and engage in. And I just feel like when someone's angry at me, I might be really thrown off. But if I can come to terms with like, yeah, I didn't follow through on something, or I hurt this person. They're angry at me. I get it. I would be angry as well. So then it's not like this. It doesn't need to be completely. I wouldn't follow the philosophy of just having things removed at all times. I think that there's times to use that energy. There's times to be really understanding that we're human beings, and sometimes we get angry. There are situations where it is unjustified and it is a little bit extreme and unwarranted, but there are times when it is, and I just think that's part of being. Yeah, like people get angry, things happen, and so it's just important to look at all aspects, not just one pathway to say like, I just need this anger removed from me, period. I think it's got to be a little bit more gray. There's more.
Well, I know that for me. Okay, so I think, but it sounds to me like you've got a way of letting things go, ultimately, right?
For sure.
Because if you hang on to that anger, it's going to become a resentment, and then then it stays in your head. So you got to get rid. We can't afford resentments. I mean, the big book tells people that resentments kill more alcoholics than anything else, and it's like, if I don't get rid of my resentments and I struggle and I hang on to resentments, it's going to kill me. So I can't have resentments, and anger is a resentment now, in the now. But if I deal with the anger as it comes, then I'm not going to have a resentment. So, yeah, if you have a way of dealing with your anger that's healthy and allows you to actually deal with it and let it go, that's fantastic. But you're right, anger happens, and it's funny when you were talking. I was thinking, it reminded me. I was thinking about a hockey game. Okay, so you're playing hockey, and some guy cross-checks you, and you turn around and you cross-check him back, and he pushes you, you push him. Sometimes you might drop the gloves and go at it, and it's like, and then after that it's over, and it's kind of like it's almost like it's almost like it's almost to me there's some sort of healthiness about that little quick exchange and a quick, and sometimes it may not turn into a fight. It may just turn you push him, he pushes you back, you push him, he pushes you back, then the referee steps in, and then it's kind of like over. But you've each had a little bit of an anger release there, right? And then it's kind of over. If I hang on to that and think I've got to get that guy, then I'm going to suffer. But if I let it go and think, okay, he was angry, I was angry, we had a little angry exchange, and then that's it, let it go, right? Then it's okay. You just let it go. And I think, if you look at a case of a hockey game, for example, I think that's what happens most of the time. It's like, it's just a little bit of a anger release, and away you go.
All right, wrap it up.
Okay. Let's wrap it up with the Serenity We Pray. God, grant us the serenity to accept the things we cannot change, courage to change the things we can, and wisdom to know the difference.